Retro anime. How did we find it? How does it hold up? Unpacking the ins and outs of being an old school nerd and proving that 80s kids can't remember a damn thing right. These are the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd.
Welcome to Mindless Midlife Musings of the Anime Nerd. I'm Rick, and I'm joined by the rest of our panel, Vic, Brian, and Lynette. How's it going, everyone?
What up? Hey.
All right, in this episode, we're suiting up and freaking out for the 80s science fiction comedy OVA, Metal Skin Panic MADOX-01. Metal Skin Panic MADOX-01 is a 1987 original video animation produced by AIC, Shoishinsha, and Pony Canyon. It was directed and conceptualized by Shinji Aramaki. The anime was licensed by Animego as its very first anime release for Western audiences in 1989. It was later released by Manga Entertainment in the UK with a different dub, and etc., etc. It's seen subsequent releases, and as of recently, it was
Re-released on Blu-ray.
Yeah, they had a Kickstarter for it. It was pretty cool. They started a Kickstarter in April of 2021, and the Kickstarter reached its goal in like 40 minutes. So it was a resoundingly successful Kickstarter for them. This anime, it's short. It's not very long. It's about a mechanic who's kind of an engineering student, and the MADOX-01 power suit like falls off the back of a truck, literally.
Literally.
It's like,
it's obviously military gear, and instead of wanting to turn it in, he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take this home."
yeah, I'm just gonna take this home.
It's a military jack-in-a-box, and he's just gonna play with it, you know?
We also got to see that not only did it fall off the back of the truck, before it did that, apparently it made somebody insane.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah.
Can I just say two things about this one? The first thing's first, you got to talk about priorities. This whole thing comes down to a misunderstanding about priorities. I am in a metal suit. Let me go see my girlfriend.
I was gonna walk down the street because no one's gonna know that I'm in a military thing.
You walk down the street, let the thing auto defend fire a few things, let it blow up a helicopter. Nope, I gotta go see my girlfriend first.
So yeah, I mean, like that's just kind of what I wrote. It's like I've been accidentally locked inside this metal power armor. Let me go impress my girlfriend. That's definitely first thing I need to do. That's basically what this is. So it's kind of interesting because this anime was marketed as a comedy, like an action comedy, and I don't particularly find it to be very comical. I'm in situationally, it's comedic in the sense of you're like, wow, this is really kind of dumb, but I don't think that was the intentional comedy. I think I don't know, it's kind of weird. There's
And the bad guy was intense. Like, it wasn't
serious.
He was serious. It was like, whoa.
Dude was ramped to 11. My notes started with angry butthurt military guy is butthurt, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. But he ramps to 11 super fast. He goes full like Gary Oldman before.
And he was angry at the suit, not the pilot who made a fool of him earlier. He was angry at the suit.
Yes, and he decided to fight in a baby tank that he could see half of him in because that was
a prototype metal slug.
That was the way to battle a robot, was to be in a baby tank, not like a big tank, but a baby tank.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna fight a power armor, I mean, a power armor that spanked your ass already once. The best thing you can do is get in the smallest tank possible.
Right? I think he was taller than the tank. I was like,
he was
what?
looking out of the tank. He was probably standing up in the tank.
Yeah.
I think he was Fred Flintstoning it the whole time too. Like, I don't think the wheels actually worked. I think he just picked it up and just ran.
Seriously, there's only one person in cinema history that I've seen more injury than this guy. His name was Khan.
No doubt, man. It was So watching this, right? Just to back it up for a second, watching this, you really know exactly from the beginning where Exo Squad got all their inspiration from. If you ever watched that cartoon, that's what this was doing. And it is the whole opening bit is tech porn of the highest order, right? They animate the hell out of this
Oh my
thing.
god!
You know,
The
when I saw
overlay.
that, I was kind of geeking out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing!" I can't. I was like,
Yo,
"We're going to
It
see
hypes
all
you
the
up, and then it's like,
inner
oh,
yeah,
the
and then afterwards,
overlays.
it's really bad."
Yeah, go ahead, B. You're right. Yes.
Them overlays, when they showed how the systems were coming together, and the hip bone connected to the knee bone, and the knee bone connected to the thigh bone connected to the what's the call it? And I was like, yo, this is about to be lit. I
Right?
Yeah.
thought that I thought that we were actually about to get that same level of respect that we talk about in Gunbusters.
No. What we did get was genius mechanical design, right? I mean, so Shinji Aramaki is the mechanical designer for this, also the director for this, and he has a pedigree in anime that is excellent. He was the designer of the Genesis Climber Mospeada ride armor, or the Cyclone for Robotech fans. He worked on Megazone 2-3. He worked on Mask. Y'all remember Mask, right? Like, so he he
Bro,
has he has a long-standing pedigree as a genius technical designer. Like,
like
seriously.
insane.
seriously, Mask was before most of our anime experiences.
Yes, yeah. And this was his directorial debut. So the fact that it's a little rough around the edges, I kind of get. I mean, he was like 20 something when he directed this. I try to think of anything I would have directed at 20, and I know it would have been a show. So, so hey, props, because I mean they pulled off a lot.
Oh, let's also not forget that he's a super nice guy.
Right?
So we're talking about this guy when he directed it was 20.
Yeah, like 20, 22, something.
He was doing everything else before that. That means he was in high school. He was, oh my god, just mind blowing to think about.
Yeah, so when he worked on Genesis Climber Mospeada, he was a teenager. He was like, I don't know, late teens. Same with Mask. Same with Megazone 2-3. All those predated this, if I remember correctly. This was like 87, I think I said. So yeah, Mospeada was, I think, 83.
Right? The Cyclone.
Yeah.
I think about, the other aspect of Robotech that we don't we touch upon when we're talking about it. It's the role play from Palladium books.
Sure.
Yeah. And I remember the Cyclone, like it was like the Mega Damage NDC and SDC. Right? And I
Yep.
remember how technical the Cyclone was. And this guy did it as a teenager.
Yep. Yeah, we were playing the games that he designed. You know what I mean? Like, we were playing the role-playing games at probably roughly the same age as when as the he designed. It was crazy.
Hey, he just got a lot more respect. Like a lot more respect.
Yeah, no, he's awesome, and yeah, and like Vic said, he's a very, very nice gentleman. We had a chance to meet him at one of the Comic Cons. He's an excellent guy.
Man,
Yeah. We had a great chance to interview him. He directed one of the Appleseed anime. So
And I got to do it again for the CG animated Starship Troopers movie.
there you go.
Mars.
and that's how you make Brian's.
Wrong episode, Brian. Wrong episode.
Yeah, that's right. So
Oh no, this is hentai now. This is hentai now.
it's tech hentai. The so there are things about this that I really liked. I wrote some notes about it. I love that he actually tries to read the manual.
Yes.
Like how is it's just that's great. Nobody does that ever. They never do that.
And he never finished it either.
Yeah, that's the part that I was like, okay, that's a tip to the tech people, because who reads a user manual except for tech people, right?
Yeah.
I think at the point in time where it's like, read the manual, read the manual. You know what? I think I got this.
But I mean, so it starts out very organic. I mean, besides the absurdity of it literally falling off the back of a truck and then him just rolling it into his house, is that I relate to his experience at the beginning because he's reading the manual and he's like, oh, okay, I can just, if I put my foot in here and I kind of tighten the joint here, oh, okay, yeah, that all makes sense. And then if I just reach, oh, okay, oh, this trigger's over here, that's pretty cool. And then after that, oh, I'm stuck. And that's a whole other thing. But that is,
And the manual's like in his belly area.
reading the manual while doing it is totally how I read the manual.
Yes. It's like, push this button. Okay, I push the button.
Not to mention the fact that it is on brand for 80s teenage somehow fall into way above their head. Like you remember what was it? There was a movie, oh, Iron Eagle. Iron Eagle. This teenager, well, he was motivated because his dad was killing him, but look, I'm just saying that it's on brand for 80s teenagers just thrown into the adult world. Like, you remember that one thing with Richard Grieco, if looks could kill?
If looks could kill, absolutely, yeah. The high schooler who becomes a super spy.
Yes.
Yeah,
It-
it's right along lines of that. You're absolutely right. It's comedic in that sense. It's the fish out of water story, the teenager who gets thrust into an absurd situation with
He's
an
got
absurd
like a-
level of tech.
It's got like a Bill and Ted response to things like stop shooting at the helicopter. And it's really, I mean, it's like there's no level of urgency. He was, if I could just picture like Bill and Ted just going, whoa. You know, that type of thing, because he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm doing. Stop shooting at the helicopter. I was like, really? I was like, he's in a beautiful piece of machinery, and I feel like he needs to get into a telephone booth and go back in time.
You're absolutely right. Yes, he there's this moment where he's in the suit and he goes to Shinjuku and he's like, it just, you're right. It's a Bill and Ted moment. He's totally like flying. Oh wait, you're not supposed to have cars in this part of town. So he like lands the mech and starts walking through Shinjuku. Like no big deal. Just gonna walk through here, and
everyone's
then
like, huh.
I love the animation of people's faces on it. They're like,
yeah, and he's and it typical, like, this is just, I don't know if it's a trope or not, but he absolutely telegraphs exactly where he's going. He's like, hey, hold up, guys with guns pointing at me. I'm just trying to get to my girlfriend's office building. And then he throws a engine block at them.
Yes.
But
and then he goes, stop.
He's not upset about that, but he is upset when the Maddox decides to open fire on a military helicopter all by itself. He'll throw an engine block at the cops, but God help him if the freaking Maddox starts firing by itself.
So bad. I was like, oh, what is happening? It was just a comedy of errors. Like, that's really all it was. He was like,
Yeah.
Don't worry about me, folks. I'm just walking in this highly dangerous military thing down the street. It's all right.
Yeah, it's all good. And I love, and like you said, Brian, the way that people reacted to him when they're in the when he's going down the highway and the guys in the Rising Sun sedan are like driving along and they see this flying power suit like with armaments hanging off of it, and they of course decide they want to start because that's what they would do.
We're like, nerd, get out of the way.
It's, you know,
oh my God, Vic, hold on, Vic. I felt that a little bit too much on that. I just think I know this is mindless musings of the anime nerds. But you saying nerd like that, it hurt my feelings. I don't know if I like it. I don't think I appreciate it one bit.
So I think, you know, we said that it's marketed as a comedy, but it doesn't deliver itself as one. It really doesn't. But there are so many moments in it that are funny though I feel it's completely unintentional. I could be wrong. Maybe these guys are geniuses and they were totally doing tongue-in-cheek stuff. But to me, it didn't read like it was trying to be funny.
No, with the bad guy being so serious, I think they were trying to make it into something, even with the 40 minutes. I think they were trying to make it into something because the dude was crazy. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand what his passion was. It's not like he was like, this thing succeeding is going to ruin the tape, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like he ever said to himself, you know, maybe I can learn how to drive this thing. No. He was just angry that a tank buster killed him.
yeah, he was butthurt because the power suits were going to replace him, and I guess he didn't like the fact that he didn't know how to drive one. I don't know, but apparently it's not that hard because you just get sucked into the suit, and it's very intuitive. Apparently,
He was intimidated by the manual.
right?
well, the part that got me was why the chick, and it sounds really sexist, but why did the chick put it in like scramble mode?
Yeah. No, and she admits to that.
That was the thing that got me. I was like, wait a minute. If you don't know where this is going and you want to lock it down, you don't put it in scramble mode. You
shut that off. Like, you don't leave it in, I'll defend myself mode.
You put in a boot password and you make sure it doesn't go
To be
back.
fair, I mean, in transit, they left the manual with it. Who knows if they would have left the, page 17 of the instructions probably had scramble mode in it.
All he really had to do, oh my gosh, got trapped in here. Hey, let me just pop you out so we can walk over there. And that's what
She wants to fight with him, though. That's the part that got me.
Yeah, so I wrote that down here. It's like a paragraph. I wrote it down though. They blew the legs off my power armor. I'm clearly stuck inside without comms and unable to contact Kilgore's superiors to call him off to withdraw. So you'll just have to fight him to the death. No big deal. It'll be fine. It's basically her reaction. The legs have been blown off my mech. You're just going to have to fight him to the death. Like, wait a minute. Hold on.
That was my point. There was huge topic of escalation. Remember the first thing I was talking about? I said priorities. My second word was going to be escalation.
This blew up fast, and it so then it ends very abruptly. I realized that they had a runtime that they were probably trying to meet, but the whole thing's escalating, and then he finally comes to the realization that Kilgore is like obsessed with the suit and not necessarily the person in it. And then at that moment, he does something unbelievable. He reaches down and he pulls the ejection handle.
Yes. And man, and
more questions at that moment than anything, because it's like, did she tell him about the ejection handle? Because if that's the case, they could have used it like right then and there and avoided a civilian casualty. Or did he know it was there the whole time but elect not to use it? Or
was he like Dory and instead of seeing eject, he saw like escape instead. Because that's what Dory, right? Escape hatch. She goes escape, and that's why when he's like, this is some foreign thing. So
he's like, it's in Latin. Like,
oh my God, that was brilliant.
Like, I liked the idea of Kilgore being obsessed with the armor and it like all encompassing. It had dragged out for another 20 minutes or so. They could have really probably explored that. And I'm even okay with him using the ejection, to get Kilgore's, like, the bane of the object of his hatred is what kills him. And I get that. That's poetic. That's great. But they did not set up the ejection thing at all.
Like, he could have done that 20 minutes earlier and avoided a lot of damage.
Just millions and millions of dollars in property damage, possible death and dismemberment, just
someone's poor car and their engine.
So many reasons why that little lever was so important. And
I think the thing you look at that whole button, the whole eject, I guess, escape clause is kind of like that. let's think about how many other people that could have worked for. We have Robotech. That she worked for Robotech. How many people that get into this situation? Why don't we just and go out? Why is that not an option? They had to do it as a last resort. They had to.
Oh,
So
I
much shit
get
would have been wrong.
cinematically, I get it, right? The ejection is it's the Deus Ex, right? I get it. It wasn't earned in this one at all.
No.
Like you didn't know this.
In the manual. So how
You
did
didn't know this had an ejection system at all. Like if say Super Dimension Fortress Macross, right? You mentioned it. It's a jet, so it mentally everybody's going to go, well, it has an ejection system. Like that, that's a note that you have. Like you watch Top Gun, you know you eject, like it's a thing. But this is a power suit. You have no idea this exists. Like it could very well have been he's just effed, and end of story. But no, they threw it in there because they wanted to be clever, and it is clever, but it wasn't earned.
Nope. It wasn't even what does this button do type thing. Like
Oh,
I
man,
can understand that. Like if it was a blunder where he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh crap, I'm gonna die. What does this button do?" and then he got kicked out, then I'd be like, "Okay,
All
I'm
right.
buying
I'd have been fine with what does this button do.
I think the best one is when it was ejected.
that."
That's the best one. That's the best explanation I've ever heard.
You just misread it.
Yeah, this lever says escape. Oh man. Oh, another fun thing I thought was hilarious is that it runs on diesel, apparently.
Yeah. To the gas station, fill her up.
Which is an amazing technological advancement for diesel, I gotta tell you.
No fumes. So that
No,
was good.
yeah. I mean, wow. Talk about fantastic emissions rating.
No, the part that I loved was that he was working on the machine. Let's go way back in his little itty bitty apartment with one little lamp, his instant ramen, and the book. That was pretty much all it was.
And I can relate to that because how many times have you put together a PC and it's just you and like some takeout and you just sitting at the table like plugging in. Let's see, this SATA goes into this port here, and and they established that he's an engineering student, right? He's going to the Institute of Technology. So there's a lot there as far as like how they planned him out as a character. He was fully fleshed out.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid, but fully fleshed out. Engineering student, works as a
I don't know if he
mechanic.
was stupid. I just think he had no common
You
sense.
don't know how-
I think that's part what it is.
Look.
I think he was so smart he had no common sense. Like
It's like he was book smart, but not street smart.
Sorry,
Right?
flag on the play.
Brian's flagging us on this. All right, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Flag on the play. He was an engineering student. Engineering student should have given me enough credibility to say, oh, I can read all this right here. I am a student. Look, he didn't even say, hey, I'm a genius when it comes to engineering. As a result, they put me into this engineering thing where I can understand and see all this. He's not even a savant.
And if he's a savant, why was he working at a gas station, right?
So I think the whole engineering student was one of those. You should be able to understand what a joule is, what a BTU is, not how to drive a match.
Oh man, is it a mental leap? Yes, of course it's a mental leap.
That's what makes it fun.
Seriously, I am literally a nuclear engineer. I have yet to have the kindergarten contact me and say, hey, Brian, look, I know you've only had 2 semesters of you being a nuclear engineer, but we have a nuclear weapons bomb that you need to find a way to dismember, to defuse.
Why are you
Disarm.
dismembering bombs?
He's disarming it. He's disarming a nuclear war. Look, man, I'm not saying that that's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's you know.
Hey, we live in a crazy world. You never know.
Have you seen the TV series Chuck? You can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
It needs to be a responsible thing, and we need to make sure the government knows I'm not the one.
So as a note to the United States government and the Pentagon, because I know you guys are all big fans of the show, do not call Brian. He is not equipped to help you.
I think we need to put this way higher, not just the United States, the United Nations. Y'all need to not, do not.
Do not accidentally drop nuclear technology on Brian's doorstep.
He'll claim no knowledge of it.
No, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find out where
He'll return to sender.
it's gonna be on the Uber back to you.
So one of the things I love about anime, especially anime from the 80s, 80s anime is the best at this, is you always have to read the on-screen text.
Yes.
Always. Like everything that shows up on a monitor, everything that's like, you have to stop and read it because it's always great. And Vic, you captured a screenshot of it. When he gets the box for the MADOX-01 unit, there is absolute gibberish on the side of this box.
I actually pulled it up right now, which was nice and easy to read on the Blu-ray version.
Perfect English, just nonsensical.
Yeah, it says U.S. Army Marines, Okawasaki Heavy Industries Co. Limited, Walt Disney Productions, Steven Lindbergh director. The design work for this feature started with the aircraft. That's number one. Number two, for this sequel to the famous 2001, I designed the exterior of the Russian spaceship Leonov. For the interior, number three, originally working personally with Ridley Scott, I was.
So, what I love about this is it's 1980 something. This is not like they copy pasted. It's not like they had a computer and just like, I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste this onto the cell for the. No, somebody had to draw that shit out. So this was some dude sitting at an artist's desk copying American characters. I don't know if they even knew what they were reading. I think they're just like, this looks interesting.
And probably they were just hoping on the fact that VHS back then, you would not be able to read it. And it just shows up magically with the Blu-ray.
Look, Maddox is literally it's a love letter to espionage. If you really think about it, they're saying that Walt Disney has been responsible for so many designs. In their eyes, Walt Disney is the enemy.
Well, Walt Disney and Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Both are name dropped on that little warning label.
Oh, it was just great. And, it reminded me of another Shinji Aramaki product, Bubblegum Crisis. Was another thing he worked on. And how much great English text there was on that series, too. It's just, I love reading English text on screens. But only 80s anime. They don't really do it anymore. I think.
Yeah, once higher quality video formats became standard and the internet became better, they actually started checking what they were putting on stuff.
Yeah, it's too bad because it was way funner.
Especially now that all this fun stuff is being, discovered when everything is remastered.
Yeah. It's we've been harping on it a lot, but I was actually entertained. Like I can't say that I wasn't entertained. I enjoyed watching this through to the end. Like it wasn't like a slog. It's not even long. What is it, like 40 minutes, something like that?
40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a long slog for anybody at all. One of the things that's really great about 80s anime is a lot of it was OVAs. OVAs were sort of the standard brand back then. You didn't do series so much as you just did a bunch of video releases. And this was one of those. Which makes this show a lot easier to do because we have less to watch as far as episodes go. But yeah, it also means the budgets are there, which is why the animation quality is so good on this. And it really is. I don't
think this could have been a series.
Ooh. This would have been a hard sell at 11 to 12 episodes.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. I think as a feature, it's fine. I think a feature length is, but again, I think it could have done with like 20 more minutes to just pad some of this out and do some setups, because this needed a setup for the escape port, and
Yep.
it needed setup for some of the other bits in there, like why it was so important to him to take the MADOX-01 to his girlfriend's job. What the was so important? Like, I get that she's going away to America or England or wherever the was for 3 years.
It was like their last time, but still.
Like, okay,
But
but
called her up and said, "Hey, can you come over instead? I'm stuck in a suit."
I mean, seriously,
Well, the thing is, too, is what was the suit going to do to impress her to stay?
right?
I mean,
Exactly.
if some dude walked up to me, he was like in this huge mecha suit with guns and weapons and said, "Stay," I'd be like, "Yeah, okay."
I'm pretty sure
I
that'll
feel
be
like
taken as a threat.
Thing about to happen, but okay.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet? Well, he showed up in a 9-foot power suit, armed to the teeth.
And said, "Stay."
And held me at gunpoint and said to stay. and what's a girl to do? I mean,
If you really think about it, what were her choices? It was either going to be him in the suit or little tank guys. So
well, I
Oh.
mean, I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, it's
Kind of hard to choose. I mean, you got lightning eyebrows, and you got a dude who's not smart enough to get out of a.
oh man, it's a brilliant idiot.
he's so needed for next take on this one because so many people are thinking about maybe a mech suit is not what I needed.
Right? It's like first date attire. Mech suit, definitely not.
Yeah.
Firm no.
Like, has that ever worked in any anime?
Look, I didn't know we needed to know that rule. Thank you on that. You're saving a lot of love right now.
I try and put myself in Koji's shoes here, and I'm like, if I showed up when I met my wife, if I would have showed up in a 9-foot power suit, how would that have gone? Probably not so good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so again, that's to harp on it, but not at the same time. It's like, yeah, this needed like another, I don't know, even 10 minutes to just sort of pad that out and set that up and sort of, I don't know, give us a reason why it matters to him.
Right, just flesh it out a little.
That's all I'm asking for. That's all I needed. But again, I look at the context, and Shinji's like 20 something when he came up with this. Hey, the fact that it looks as good as it did, and was as good as it was, A+.
I would have liked more build up for the bad guy. Because the only thing is, you only see him in the beginning, and he's like,
Right.
"I'm going to kill that robot," and then in the end, he was like, "I'm going to kill that robot in a teeny tiny tank." And you just got to figure out, you just got to figure out where the brain came from. It's like, was he?
Well, obviously, he wasn't
trying
overcompensating.
out prototypes? Was he doing something? And he was
Yeah,
like, "You know
you're
what?"
right.
They always say.
They should have definitely padded that out a little too, because the whole opening act is the Maddox like spanking full size tanks, and then all of a sudden he's in his little mini Pinto version, and he's gonna take out the Maddox in it.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was even driving those things until he gets out and he's all mad. Thing, right? I mean,
Right.
he does. He gets out of the little
Oh yeah,
little thing, the VR machine, and he's like, "Argh," and you see his little lightning eyebrows, and
oh he's so angry. You know who he reminded me of was the guy from Vampire Hunter D that had the lamp. He used the candle and he got his arm sliced. I forgot that character's name. Like he
Was
had
it
the same
the
haircut.
Mayor's
No.
son or something.
No, he
Or
was in
the
Vampire Hunter
cool
D.
guy?
He was the one that had the time warp ability, and he had the little candle,
Oh,
candle.
yeah.
And he
Yes.
lost his.
Well, and the same thing happened. He got
Yeah.
crushed.
Yeah. I
His
just
dad dead.
I fully.
I think our dude worked on that candle. Didn't he? Did you say that?
Yeah, the candle was engineered and designed by Shinji Hiromaki. Here first. Because why not? He worked on everything else.
Yeah, he worked on the camera. Yeah.
Oh man, hey, everybody needs a payday. So,
That sounds like a final thought for me.
is that your final thought on this? That's
I did
good.
have a question. Do you guys
Shoot.
remember the girlfriend? I don't
I mean,
remember the girlfriend.
I don't remember the character's name, but I do remember.
I remember her looking across the building to the other side of the building. She's like, "Hey, that's what's his face in a giant robot."
Worth noting, he needs a 4 or 5 times zoom magnification to see her face on the other side of this building, and she's just looking out the window, and she's like, "Koji!" Like, oh, hold up.
Right. Yes.
Hold up.
I have no idea who the girlfriend was.
That tells me everybody she's a boomer. She's a boomer.
There you go.
That tells me everybody
There you
know.
go. That's why he needed the power suit, because he wanted to tap that, so he needed the suit to.
The suit was adequate protection for that.
Mystery solved. There you
We
go.
got this. We got this. We got 20 more minutes.
So to our good friend Robert Woodhead of Animego, I know you're a big fan of the show. I know you listen every week. We've established this before. You can put that in your liner notes that his girlfriend was a boomer, and the power suit was just a glorified condom. So there you go. It's the end of your MADOX-01 liner notes. So yeah, I don't. There was a couple things I had here, which was an interesting, fun little mindless musing, and it was the helicopter. The helicopter that delivers the unit to track down Koji has the name Roger Young painted on it, and that's a nod to Starship Troopers, because the troop transport in Starship Troopers was called the Roger Young, and Starship Troopers, not the movie, which is a whole other story. But the book is known for it being like the pioneer of like the power suit. Like there's the whole concept and power suits and stuff were widely used in the books. So Shinji Aramaki was apparently a big fan, hence the Roger Young helicopter in this anime. Yeah, I know. I'm full of all the great mindless musings here.
I'm pretty sure I might have used wrong because the only thing I had was escalation.
I know, man. You're right, though. Like, I feel like that was absolutely amusing, worth talking about, because it really is just a massive level of escalation.
Yeah, but you be mindful because you have to use a lot of your mind for how you come up. I know. I hope I'm doing the great service to these people, but god damn.
Girlfriend was a boomer. I feel like that was some A plus mindless musing right there. So good on you. Oh man, So I guess it's this will be a shorter episode, but I don't have much else. I think I really do. I am gonna give you my thoughts on this. Is that this is a very entertaining piece of film. It's a fun anime. It's honestly, you know what it is? It's one of those anime that I liken it to. It's a channel stopper. So, like when you're watching TV back in the days when people did this, and you're flipping through the channels, and you stumble onto that movie, and you're like, "Oh, this is on," and you kind of just like drop the remote and watch because it's on. Like that's what MADOX-01 is. The Metal Skin Panic MADOX-01 is to me. Is like if I'm flipping through the channels and that's on, I'll drop the remote and finish it. It's an entertaining bit. I know I'm not going to be locked in for like 6 hours. It's not a Lord of the Rings film. So I can just like sit down and veg out and have a good time and enjoy it. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. I don't know that it's worth the however much it is to buy the extended Blu-ray version or anything like that. I don't feel like it's a collector's edition purchase kind of thing. But it is a good time. I think that's worth checking out.
Hold on, I think we need to make sure the government understands. We believe it is. The government's listening to this.
That's right. That's yes. And to Robert Woodhead, longtime fan of the show and head of Animego. I just, it's not personal. I feel like the collector's edition box set pricing was a bit much for this one. Vic, I'll hand it over to you, Vic. What are your final thoughts on MADOX-01?
So I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's it's not a master class in anime cinematography and writing, but it's fun. It's 40 somewhat minutes. It's, great technical design. It's, you know, one really, really angry dude that's angry at the wrong thing, but that's fine. And it's just pure, unadulterated fun. Is it worth $35 for the Blu-ray? It is on Amazon Prime. If you got a Prime account, you already got access to watch it.
Well, there you go. And it's, again, artistically beautiful. The character designs are a little funny. They're kind of sharp. Like everybody has like these like sharp, pointy jaws. Like they could like punch open a can of soda with their chin. But besides the very, very sharp character design, the mecha design and the animation and the production value is spot on.
Yeah, it's a very, very late 80s character design.
It is, yeah. So, Brian, I'll hand it over to you. What are your final thoughts on old MADOX-01?
I think that if you just look at it for the butterfly it is, just watch it for it being a butterfly. The minute you stop one of them caterpillar legs from moving, the whole thing just falls apart. But if you look at it like I mentioned it earlier, that it's one of those 80s movies where teenage kids just fall into a whole bunch of adults, it completely changes the look of it, and it allows you to get through. Look, we're kids. We're not supposed to know all the answers. All we know is that we got to get to our girlfriend. Let me just get her. She's a boomer.
No, I think you're right. I think I think state of mind is important for this anime. I think if you go into it being a bit with that mentality, like it's a Bill and Ted flick, like you said earlier, Lynette, or something like that. Like you're in it to have a good time, and the absurdity of it won't negatively affect you. I don't know. Lynette, go ahead.
It won't negatively offend you.
It won't negatively offend you. Lynette, let us have it. What are your thoughts on Matt? This was your first time with Maddox, right?
Yes. I feel like I was kind of tricked because the intro really drew me in. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And it was kind of like finding out Optimus Prime has a high-pitched voice. That was pretty much, like, you see this beautiful piece of machinery and you're just like drooling. And all of a sudden he goes, hi, I'm Optimus Prime. It just kind of just destroys the whole thing, But that's kind of what I felt like. And that's what I was thinking about the whole time. I was like, wow, these wonderful bits of machinery. Even the tanks, even the baby tank that Lightning Eyebrows did. Like all of them. Even the MADOX-02 was brilliantly drawn. But at the same time, it was the same. It was like the content. It felt like you have these big, powerful machines, teeny tiny voices, and they really it doesn't kind of mesh. But I enjoyed it overall. It's like once you got to watch it and you understand, like, oh, this dude's really just has no common sense. Okay, yeah, let's continue. Let's continue watching it.
An astute lack of common sense, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Anybody should watch it. You'll have a blast.
Yeah, you have a good time with it. Just don't go into it expecting Shakespeare. This ain't the Bard. This is this is far from it. But it is. It's fun. You know what it also is? It's kind of like when you're a kid and you get like a bunch of random toys that don't go together, and you come up with this like play scenario in your head. You're like, I'm gonna go get my girl. You're like your G.I. Joe fighting your 12-foot Barbie doll or whatever, and you just come up with some sort of ludicrous storyline. That's kind of what this is like. This is like watching a kid play with mechs. And you're just like, okay, yeah, of course, yeah, you're going to throw the car at the police. That's what I would, of course. Yeah, good job. They're there. Pat him on the head. So, yeah, I think that's it, guys. I don't really have much. It's going to be a short one for us this week. But it was a short anime, so we can't tear into it too much.
I think we talked about it longer than the actual anime is.
Yeah, I think we outlasted the runtime of this particular film. So, yeah, I guess that's it, man. That's going to be our show for today. So until next time, keep calm and always read the f***ing manual.
You've just been privy to the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd, presented by Geek Grotto. Follow the podcast on Twitter @Geek Grotto.
For show notes and corrections or for general geeky fun, you can visit our website at geek-grotto.com. If you would like to sponsor the show, you can do so on the podcast's Red Circle host site, redcircle.com/shows/MMMAN. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please like, follow, and subscribe.